And I was trying to explain. She said, so what are the T-shirts for? Why are you buying so many? And I said, well, I'm doing a book launch on Friday. And she, oh, yeah, what's the title of the book? And I said, Complete Surprising Fragments of Improbable Books. And she just completely glazed over. It was just... In any case, I did want to talk a little bit before I started reading the poems about the notion of the improbability part, because there's a few sort of things about it that have always intrigued me, and I thought I'd share them with you. So there's a little introduction that talks about this, but I'll just give a few words about it. So anyway, the notion of improbability is something we think about every day. We think of ourselves probably as pretty evidentiary people. So evidence is really important to us. We like to think we're relatively empirical as an advanced society. One of the things that's out there that people have heard of is the monkey typing theorem. Has anyone heard of the monkey typing theorem, the infinite monkey typing theorem? A few people. So the infinite monkey typing theorem says that a monkey typing for a really long time will eventually type in sequence all of the works of Shakespeare in order. And it's been mathematically proven. It's actually fundamentally true, completely true. What's sort of interesting about that is it's true, but you would have to reach the point at which the heat death of the universe had already taken place for trillions of years before the probability would be like something like 45% or something like that. I did a bunch of the calculations, and it's just astronomical, absolutely astronomical, but finite. So the notion of finitude, like we don't understand the opportunities that live not in the infinite, but in the massively finite. Because, you know, every poem is massively improbable. Every poem of any kind, right? And each one kind of has to be, you know, so in a way, if a poem is not surprising, that is surprising. Because there is room always for something to be completely out of left field. It's really just how you sort of let your mind, to a certain extent, wander and interact with the words that come along and the ideas that you've got going. And also it provides you with sort of unique challenges and opportunities to sort of think about poetry in a bit of a different way. This is called Animal Crackers. Crocodiles grind wildebeests, chickadees peep, lion prides kill elephants, koala bears sleep, hawks drive talons 1 inch deep, prairie dogs dig, timber wolves knock caribou, snorts the wild pig. Sharks shred seal pups near the shore, hungry kittens cry. Rock pythons crush small gazelles, little brown bats fly. Shrikes impale mice on barbed wire, weaning calves keen. Chimpanzees murder infants, silverbacks preen. Tank commanders shell their friends, celebrities play. Well-dressed men sell cluster bombs. Private schoolboys pray. This little book here is called The Big Book of Confessions and Apologies by Self-Aware Addicted Persons. This is called Albert Fletcher Raises a Glass. My father beat me like a too-tight snare until the flutes in my lungs madrigaled, "Please stop, sir." Only respect made him stop demanding respect. When I look in the mirror, I don't see a beaten child, but a disappointed man too tired not to guzzle a last Bacardi double, too splattered against the wall of work to stay dry beyond a year. To be drunk for days perfectly sustains the illusion that I am self-loved unconditionally. I know I've had enough, and so have you. But if you stop my hand when I raise this glass, I will sever yours at the wrist and drink with almost sincere regret before I tear off my sleeve to stanch the bleeding. This is another one. There are balancing poems in this, and it's sort of hard to get the balance in there, but it'll come. This one's called Greg Comes Clean About His Urges. To be honest with you, I'm not certain my desires can be fulfilled by one partner. For me, desire intertwines too much with death and rage. I have a need to at least pretend to reproduce as often as I can, to remind myself of the scent of new love and of the possible beautiful child I might praise, admonish, and disappoint. I tried to convince myself this yearning was a mere animal impulse that should be imprisoned in the crowded ward of steel doors behind which I conceal the most dangerous of my self-beliefs. But there is no mere animal impulse in me. Rage, for example, comes and goes as he pleases, using a skeleton key he found on the floor of the ward. And so yearly, desire couples more frequently with rage as death measures my body for its first and last three-piece suit. And infinitely more mature and self-assured than embarrassment, fear, shame, and the inconceivable anguish of hurting you. Desire lulls each of these to sleep with sad, beautiful songs when under the gut he rises. There's a couple of poems here from a thing called Street Perspectives on Politics, Philosophy, and Aesthetics. Hampton Park, and that's a dog park. Well, it's a park that happens to be used by a lot of dogs, off of Island Park Drive, just off the highway. I, framed by the leaf green canopy, fur of the grass, goldenrod before it blooms, brushwork of branches and ferns, grass urchin burrs waiting for dogs, fresh-cut brush reeking of bread, quilted patches of sunless blue sky, as if trees grew from their crowns to the ground, the many-fingered hands of leaves, scissor-cut fringes, crisp finger-painted edges, stretched bells of oak, green tongues of poplar, maple half-stars, clustered javelins of spruce, the gin-soaked, stumbling grandfather junipers wafted by the breeze. Leaves press themselves upon you, shaping the air your skin dwells in. Granite of bark, striated ridges of living mountains, earth, smudge of dust, leaf meal, insects, and rain. Traffic stammers behind you. I'm not used to wearing glasses. Traffic stammers behind you, and the breeze tires of it, muffles the radiating noise. Not for a moment does nothing move. Color-consuming crows blot the meadow. Squirrels blurt their doubt across the branches. The bloated carcass of a handsome black squirrel flushes with color as it decomposes. One arm rests on its balloon belly. The other stretches over its head. Its mouth agape reveals the purple cavity of its throat, as if it collapsed in the high C of a great aria. This is called Notes Toward an Alternate World. John said that every sentence everywhere ends with a period, but I doubt that is true because Martha tells me that on the planet Harn, that most perfumed of planets, the lives of sentient beings are so short that no sentence is ever completed. Males live 22 minutes, 1 minute for birth, 20 minutes for exquisite sex, and 1 minute to regret and die. As with us, the women live longer, nearly twice as long as the men. 1 minute for birth, 20 minutes for forgettable sex, 1 minute to bear children and to learn to read and write, 20 minutes for exquisite sex with a younger man, and 1 minute to teach a daughter to read and to regret and die. Sentences are passed between generations along maternal lines. Men are never taught to read. No period ends a sentence. I trust the truth of what Martha has said, but I would have to wait for death to know for sure.